Hello everyone, Ryan here. So I recently read this, Seeing Through Sampson's Eyes by Pamela Canepa. I was sent this copy by the author herself. Pamela also happens to be a fellow booktuber. I believe I mentioned her a couple times before. So if you want to check out her booktube channel, I'll provide a link to that down below. This one, of course, is part 2 in a series that she wrote, and even though I did feel slightly lost in the beginning because I haven't read the first one, this one, and even though this one picks up right where pretty much I guess where the first one left off, I was able to eventually catch on to the basic plot of the story. It does take place sometime in the future, like in the year 2050 something, around that time period, and it's during and at the same time androids have become a big part of society. People use them as servants and companions, and then a number of androids also end up becoming performers. And it's very interesting. I mean, that part of the story I definitely liked. The main characters are actually, this kind of goes back and forth between Nori and Abrielle. I'll go ahead and read the synopsis here for you just so you can get a basic idea of what it's about. Who knows what secrets lie behind one's eyes? You have no idea until you walk in their shoes in a technologically advanced yet socially regressing society. Nori, daughter of Sampson and Abrielle, is about to learn what it's like to be considered less than human. She is now 20, curious, confident, and unstoppable. Embarking on a journey together, Nori and Abrielle set out to discover what remains of their beloved Sampson, yet each ends up pursuing her own individual end goal. Walk with Abrielle in order to see what they will find. So, yeah, there you go. That's definitely an accurate synopsis. Like I said, it does kind of go back and forth between Nori and Abrielle. Changes perspectives. And I guess I will say, I guess I found that a little confusing at first, but yeah, eventually I got used to it. A little confusing, but not too confusing. It did take me kind of a while to really get into the story. It wasn't until like the latter half of the book that I really started to become very interested in it, because by that point, in the latter half of the book, that's when Nori encounters this group of androids who are like performers. I guess they're like what today we consider to be circus performers, like acrobats, stuff like that. And she befriends them, and she learns a lot about what it's like to live as an android within a society that pretty much doesn't consider androids to be people at all, considers androids to be less than people. Therefore, most androids are, I guess you could say, ridiculed and, yeah, just really, I guess, harassed. And one thing I did notice right away was that, to me, it reminded me of a lot of things that have occurred throughout history, world history, but also, you know, different, what's the word? The word escapes me. Such as different prejudicial things that have occurred just here in the United States, but also worldwide. You know, with the whole, everything that occurred with things like the slave trade and segregation, and of course a lot of other things similar to those. And I really liked that part of the story. I wanted to learn a lot more about these androids that Nori had befriended. There is one part where she kind of dresses up like one of the female androids just for like a day. I think it might have even been like less than a day, just so she can get like a feel of what it's like to be treated as, less than human, which I believe is mentioned in the synopsis. And yeah, obviously she quickly learns that she doesn't like it. She doesn't like, and at the same time she learns that, she doesn't like the fact that people seem to be, using androids as a way to just, I guess, vent their own frustrations, kind of like, I don't know, it's similar to like, how for the longest time, people, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people would, and still do to this day, I guess, mistreat animals, mistreat their dogs, whether they're stray dogs or stray cats or even their own pets at home. And eventually, when there ended up being a lot of new laws created in order to protect innocent animals. And so, yeah, I mean, I kind of like drew parallels between this story, with how the androids are being treated and how, unfortunately, a lot of animals get treated as well, mistreated, abused, and neglected, and considered to be, less than a person, because most people don't consider animals to be actual people, just because, I don't know, for many different reasons. I don't know, just because, we're not able to communicate with them on a regular basis, or we're not able to, figure out what's going on inside their heads, or I don't know, many different reasons. So yeah, I mean, also too, in the story, people end up hating the androids for many different reasons. But ultimately, it just comes right down to, I guess you could say, fear of the unknown, fear of what, the androids are capable of, and therefore ultimately trying to control them, keep them in check, make sure that they don't run amok or something like that. Of course, I definitely enjoyed it. I do actually want to read the next installment of this, because the ending, even though I don't want to give it away, but yeah, it made me ultimately still, again, made me want to find out a lot more about these androids. Because I feel in that part of the story, that's, for me, that's where the real, I guess, moral message comes into play. And I like the fact too, I mean, for me, it even made me question the fact that, I mean, how would I treat an android? Because it got me thinking too. It'd be like, well, I mean, if an android is, technically not a human being, but they're able to live out a full life, or at least close to a full life, pretty much the same way as a human being, does that not make them human as well? Does that make them, I mean, I don't know. I really don't know how to answer that question. I guess I would say, ultimately for me, I would have no problem if an android were to, pretty much be able to do everything that human beings can do, live their own lives. If androids are able to live their own lives much the same way that human beings do, I mean, I guess, yeah, I really would have no problem with that. But then I don't know, too, if I were actually faced with that reality, I don't know if maybe I would react differently. Maybe at first I'd say, yeah, probably at first it'd be a difficult thing to get used to. But ultimately, I mean, ultimately I wouldn't have any problems with it. Or or maybe I just like to believe that I wouldn't have any problems with it. So, I mean, I don't know. I like that part of the story. I like that it just raised so many questions for me. And I think that definitely, in today's and nowadays, since people, we rely on a lot of technologically based social tools. Yeah, I mean, really doesn't seem that far-fetched to imagine that one day androids will become reality and human beings and androids will have to learn to coexist eventually, someday. I don't know. But yeah, even though I realize that something like that does seem like just science fiction nonsense to a lot of people, it's still it's something to still at least think about, consider. So, consider the different ramifications from such a thing becoming a reality. I don't know. Ultimately, I do give this 4 out of 5 stars. Yeah, I do recommend reading it, especially if you're into science fiction. There is like a YA element to it. But ultimately for me, it was, again, the latter half of the story that really drew me in. And yeah, I really don't know what else to say other than, I do recommend reading it. Thanks again to Pamela for sending me this copy. I definitely appreciate it. And I also appreciate that she signed it on the inside. So yeah, that's cool. I always like getting signed copies of books. So, yeah. Let me know if any of you have happened to have read this as well. Yeah, also, if you want to know anything else about the story, definitely just leave me a question down below. But again, I do give it 4 out of 5 stars. And I almost forgot, there is a preview of the next installment at the end, which looks like it's titled From Bedlam to Ben. Bedlam is the name of one of the android performers. So, yeah, I definitely would like to read the next installment. So, yeah, Seen Through Sampson's Eyes by Pamela Canepa. I don't know what else. It's pretty good, pretty awesome. Definitely. Keep on writing, Pamela. Definitely keep it up. I look forward to reading plenty more of your work. Even if, eventually, I look forward to seeing your work in the bookstores, so that way I can support you that way. So, yeah. That'll do it for this review. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. As always, till next time, don't forget, keep it real, keep on rocking, and peace.